Let me share my screen. This looks like it's the first time I'm doing this. And I wasn't sharing my screen. All right, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're super excited that we have started the, I will stay, I'm pretty in the face here of the online viewers. Super excited that we started the experience user group specifically. Some of you have met us already at one or two we've done in Lisbon prior. The Netherlands, as it's one of our bigger, more active markets with lots of good people and lots of good knowledge and lots of good things. We wanted to host one here as well. We'll host some throughout the US as well, and we'll probably rotate every 2 months in one of the countries that would host it on site, and then with it being hybrid. That's the current plan. We had a lot of registrations, a lot of interest from around the world, so that's super good to see. Very happy with that. And I also want to thank Adriano and Mariana, who volunteered / were invited, requested, who some voluntold that they could be a good opportunity to speak. We'll have the opportunity for you also to contribute and to suggest yourself as a speaker or someone as a speaker. So I'd say let's get this going. So for the community members under us, apparently I have to show this slide. I guess it's recorded, so Katarina will get angry at me afterwards now. But just to make sure, if you have a question, put it in the Q&A. Cameras are welcome for the remoters, for here as well. You can use your camera, put it on LinkedIn, and then we look really cool. It will be recorded and shared with you afterwards. And if there's any feedback, please let us know. We want to learn from you. If you like this, if we need to go more UX UI, if we need to go more front end, if we need to go more hands-on, really help us help you. And then for now, let's start with the first one, which is Adriano. And without further ado, I would say let's go. Will you use sound or you want to use my mic?
No.
Okay.
We don't hear anything.
What about?
You need to mute one of the laptops, like the sound of one of the two.
No. Speaker is off.
So,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
No. And now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
you'll just need to share your screen.
And now?
Can you
hear us? Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
But we don't see the
Can
screen.
you see his screen?
No.
Can you see my screen?
No.
We tested all of this.
No. Probably you need to give me access. No.
No, are you in the call?
I'm in the call.
Yeah, share screen.
You call.
And now the presentation. Okay.
Yeah. Now.
All right, now it's okay?
Great. Yeah. Let's go.
All good?
We see the notes. I don't know if we are supposed to see that part. with the notes.
Okay.
With the no notes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, guys. So let's start after all these issues, common issues, I would say. So this is my first time here presenting in a user group, and I appreciate that Manu and Elena invited me to be here with you guys to share some things. My presentation basically is about the relationship between design and front end. So how can we improve that to make the development faster and to work better? I'm Adriano Palma. First of all, I've been working with OutSystems, I believe, for 10 years, probably now, working with front end, and I learned a lot of things that I will try to share with you guys to facilitate your work and your relationship with the designers. Okay, so let's start by talking a little bit about how can we facilitate and align the work to speed up development. Then how can the front end be a link of communication between the development team and the designers? Also, how can we avoid some technical debt? How can we work to provide alternatives and to improve and speed up the development? And finally, some tips, front-end tips for everyone to improve your work. So I think you all experienced this. First of all, let me say that everything can be built. So we are not here to block the designer's work, let's say, because usually we see that a lot, and I believe the designers experience this a lot. Well, the developers say that this cannot be done, and it's not true. We can build everything, but the struggle is real. So let's avoid extra work or a lot of problems while developing something that could be easier. Okay. So as front-enders, we have a role here. We can basically help the designers by, for instance, schedule meetings of alignment while working together. We should do that to make sure that the work between front-end and design are aligned. So we can basically also give alternatives, understand if the designers have all the knowledge about the components that are available to work with, inform about best practices, also estimate the work that we need to do. If we have a better way to do it, eventually provide those alternatives, because something can take much longer to develop, and we may have an alternative that is much faster to actually implement and will do the same work. So communication here plays a big role. We need to communicate whenever there's also a blocker, a problem. If the developers are blocked by something, we may communicate. We have to communicate with the designers also to explain what our struggles are and to overcome those. So basically, we are facilitators here. As front-enders, we should have this in mind, that we are facilitators between development and designers. So let's speed things up by doing these things, okay? So we have some useful initiatives that we can have to facilitate this communication between design and front end, because basically we speak the same language as designers and as developers. We understand each other. As front-enders, we understand both teams, and we are the link of communication between those teams. Some useful initiatives that, at least in Product we have, and they are working really well, are the design ops, where we work together, front-end and design work together to come up with processes, tools that we can share and improve, that they will improve our work. The front-end guild, that is a group of people with front-end knowledge that is spread across several projects. And by having this group, we can share ideas, share issues that we have. We can work together in order to solve those blockers. We should also review designs. So the designers will present some work, and we need to review that work to make sure that the work is well done. We have for instance, all the spaces are according to the baselines, the correct baselines, that we don't have mismatch on colors, etc. So we should do that. Also, a must-have, I believe, on the design part, to have a template design system that is really useful when a new project starts. The designers can use that template to change the definition according to the branding guidelines of this new project. But the template itself, the baseline is there, so it's really easy to just clone it and then work according to it. The same applies to the lifestyle guide on the front-end part. So whenever a new project starts, we already have in place a template for the lifestyle guide, where we just then clone it and change the colors, all the styles, etc., according to the guidelines that the design provided. And a go-to person. This is really important, to have someone on the design side and someone on the front-end side that can manage the communication. Eventually, if something goes wrong in a project, that those persons can go to the go-to person to explain what's going on, and that person will manage the situation and communicate with designers to overcome the issue. On the development part, this will result in a strong front-end foundation, scalability, maintainability. It will be much easier to work and use on the development part. Agility and the speed of development will obviously increase if we have these things in place. So as I said, we are the link of communication. We feel the flow. We are there to make that communication flow between design and development, and we are basically the link to have a better understanding between teams. So continuing, I believe you all saw a lot of things, bad coding, a lot of patterns that are really bad patterns, like inline CSS, the use of the important rule on CSS, weird spacing, patterns that do the same but have different styles in the same application, random pixel values. Actually, half pixel, I already saw it. It's a thing. It's there. Same color variations, you name it. This, I believe that you, by doing that, using the important or having a code like that is really a bad practice, you can feel the power, but this is wrong. You shouldn't do that. This is basically creating technical debt. In this case, it's really hard to then change it. So there are certain things that we as front-enders, we need to pay attention. And if you see that something is wrong, just be proactive, fix it, okay? Don't let it go, fix it. Take note, communicate, and act upon it. So fix it. So we are gatekeepers, basically, for best practices. We give guidance, we pinpoint issues, we are available to help, and we prepare a good front-end foundation for projects to grow healthy, in a healthy way, okay? If you have this in mind, be sure that your projects will be better. You are going to create a better baseline for them to grow, and you will not have that many issues. So don't step on toes, and yeah, try to dance together. So choreography. From my experience, we are all here doing the same. We want to do our best. We want to deliver the best we can, the best work that we can, a top-notch final product. And to do that, we need to work together towards that goal. We need to pay attention to certain details. We need to ask why, challenge decisions, provide alternatives, share knowledge, be helpful, have each other's back, really important. We are a team. We need to work together, designers and front end. We are a team. So we need to keep this in mind. So by the end of the day, we are a team, and together we can create awesome stuff while having tons of fun. That's the most important thing, okay? And now, finally, some breakdance moves that I believe everybody appreciates. So this is something that I think it's really, really important. I hear that a lot. When you start a project, the designers obviously don't have the whole design for the application. They don't know how the screens will look like. The designs for the screens will come up along with the project, but some things can be defined from the start, like these base patterns. It's good to have a baseline set with typography, colors, buttons, inputs, those base patterns that they will be used across the application. We should have this defined at the start of the project. Why? Because this allows us to create the lifestyle guide. The lifestyle guide is really important to start a project. We can have it to test all the components to make sure that all the styles are there, correct, all the spacing is correct, all the functions are working well. We have everything in place. So let's start by having this, the base components designed by designers, and then the lifestyle guide on the front-end part. So we work together to have this at the start of the project. Then the rest comes up along with the project. Another thing that I believe it's really good to use whenever we try to have responsive behavior and good performance while using images in an application. We have now the picture HTML element that we can use in OutSystems. We can actually add a custom HTML tag there on Service Studio and use the name picture, add source on top of it. And by doing that, you can define for each screen resolution, a specific picture. So this means that you can add for desktop a picture with better resolution, and for tablets a different one, for phone also a different one. So this will increase performance because according to the device type, the browser will load a different image according to the processing power that the device has. Also, use AVIF or WebP image formats for a better compression and image quality. So comparing with JPEG or PNG, these image formats are much better in terms of performance for loading times. Just be careful with the browser compatibilities, okay? So check if you can use them, but generally they can be used in most of the browsers. Also, loading patterns. This is really important too for a good user experience. You have two types of loading patterns. The first one is the loading pattern to use when the user actually executes an action. While waiting for the action to be executed, the user may click in different places. So to avoid that, we should use a loading pattern like that one. So an overlay over the screen with the loading pattern there. But by doing that, we are avoiding that the user clicks on places that are not meant to be clicked while the action is being executed, okay? The second one is the loading state while the data is being fetched. So if you use something like that, a loading skeleton of the page, you will remove the flickering because you are showing the elements that the page will have. And when you have the data and you toggle between the loading state and the actual data, the actual elements, you will not see flickerings, okay? Because the elements are there already. You are just showing a loading skeleton, a gradient, but then when you change it, you are removing the normal flickering that usual you will have if you just have a loading spinner in the middle of the screen and then everything just appears. Okay. Then, so this is more technically, let's say, more technical. A way, and I know that this is a question sometimes, how can we use or execute an action from a child block on a parent block? Sometimes, and the documentation of OutSystems says that we can do that by changing JavaScript, but we can also use the platform to send events from the child to the parent with a reference to the action by assigning the reference by JavaScript, outputting on that JavaScript node an object with a reference for the action, and then send that object through an event to the parent. So the parent block then can catch the event and save the object as a reference to the action of the child block, okay? So that allows you to call something from the child block on the parent block. That's really useful.
Can you zoom this, the right-hand side picture maybe, because I'm really curious what you have written inside that. And
Here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so here I'm just assigning to the output of the JavaScript node that is an object.
Yeah.
The type is object. I'm assigning the action on the child. So I have here on the child block an action called do something, client action.
Okay.
So I'm just selecting the action, a reference, so I'm not executing them. I don't have the parentheses. It's just a reference to it, to the object, to the output object. Then I will send that object on the event, on the propagate action event to the top. And then on the parent block, I catch the event and I assign it to a local variable. Okay.
You assign that particular object to a local variable. Okay.
So the parent here, it has a handler to the event.
Yes.
And I have here a variable child do something action of type object too. That on the handler I assign basically what I send on the event to that variable. So whenever I want to execute the do something on the child, I'll just use a JavaScript node on the parent that will have as an input the child do something action variable, and I execute it. I just put the parentheses because it's a variable. It's a reference to the action, so I can just execute it. Okay.
Okay.
So this is try this when as soon as you can. Try this. If you have questions, you can just call me, reach out, whenever I can help you. Another thing, make use of the React lifecycle methods that the platform also has available. The component did mount, component did update, component will mount. These are useful lifecycle methods that we can use on the Service Studio side. So it's just like this, in the same way that you use a non-click, a non-blur event, a property, you can also use the component did mount, component did update, or component will mount. Okay. And that's it. I don't know if I have more time or not. 18 minutes. Okay. I can continue. I have some more bonus moves. The first one. So this one probably you already know, but it's always good to mention that we should not use multiple server requests or heavy tasks on the onInitialize and onReady actions, because this will delay the loading time of the screen. Okay, so please don't do it. Do it at the screen or block level, because it will execute in parallel, and avoid doing this, please. Also be aware that the onRender and onPermit change events, they can run multiple times. So if you have code there, it will probably run multiple times without you even notice. So I have an example here that by just changing the text that I have there on the block, the onRender will run. So it's not only the rendering of the block itself, but of the contents that the block has inside. So whenever you change something on the block, yeah, the onRender will run. So prevent having logic on those events. Or if you have logic, just try to control the execution of that logic there. Okay? Also, Chrome DevTools. This is like the tool that I use every day. I use Service Studio, obviously, but Chrome DevTools, I always have it open when I'm working on an application. I use it for everything. So debug JavaScript, debug CSS, override code. It's really useful. You can actually use a tool from Chrome DevTools to override the file. And even if you reload the page, the file will be there with your changes. Okay, so that's really, really useful. Also to evaluate memory usage, if you have a memory leak or not. So keep in mind that, yeah, the Chrome DevTools, it's something that you should know how to use. On mobile, this is also something that you should know. Use the local storage and synchronization patterns to speed up data fetch. So save your data on the local storage and then use it to fetch the data faster than going to the server side. So be careful with the data that you want to save there, because obviously sometimes you need to perform some certain actions to change, update, or whatever the data that you have on the server side with the data that you have on the local database. But it's really useful to improve performance and speed up the data fetch. And a new one that I just found out a few weeks before the presentation, the Microsoft Edge browser, they have a really cool feature called detached elements that is really useful to validate if you have memory leaks on your code. So this allows you to understand if there are detached elements, meaning that elements that had a reference or that you had a reference to them, but the reference is still there, but the element is not there anymore. So they are kept in the limbo, let's say, but in memory still. And this creates a memory leak. So the Microsoft Edge, it has this really useful tool that allows you to pinpoint where these detached elements are, and where what is the source of the detached elements. So you can just go there and understand on the code, on the JavaScript, where is the reference being created, so you can just fix it. Okay, so try this out. Really useful. It saved me a lot of time. And yeah, now that's it. Questions? Anything? Yeah.
So it's regarding the way you are rendering images.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the way that you have showed there, it's really nice. I just have one doubt, because what I have observed is, like, I was really going into one of the components in OutSystems, which is like the search component, which is there, which comes out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have observed is, like, till OutSystems UI 2.14, they have been using the search icon as an icon of the font awesome. So it was just an icon class. Mm-hmm. And from 2.18.2, they are actually embedding the base64 of the icon image inside the OutSystems UI. So what do you think? Is it a good practice to incorporate the base64 of the whole icon image inside the CSS and then use it? Because then you lose the, you cannot change the icon until and unless you import a new base64. You cannot override just the class directly like that.
Yeah, I understand that could have been done to remove the dependency on the font awesome, because they have the icon there, and by doing that they are removing that.
Font awesome is still supported in the icon. Right?
Exactly. So, but yeah, to be honest, I don't know what was the specific reason to do that.
And strangely, like, if you are just using OutSystems UI out of the box and installing in your environment, there is no issue as such. But as soon as you clone it and you open it at your side, then you will see warnings because you are using a base64 value inside the OutSystems UI CSS. So I'm not sure. They have compiled the OutSystems UI 2.18.2 and they are using that. But when I was trying to override that class because I wanted a different search icon there, and when I was trying to put the base64 in my own theme CSS, then OutSystems Service Studio was showing me, warning that you should not use this. So yeah, I was just wondering
what I would
like,
do.
why would they do this?
I would need.
The implementation was really
The reason why I'm not sure. I would need to ask someone from OutSystems why they did that.
Like, my question is like, do you really feel like this is a good approach of incorporating the base64 inside the CSS? Means
I wouldn't do that because it's really hard. It's harder to change it. Yeah, it's harder to change it. But I would need to check the code. But probably you could hide it and then use like a pseudo class or something, whatever to do. But it will be there, right? Yeah, it will be there. It's harder to change. I agree. But yeah, I would need to ask someone from OutSystems UI, to be honest. I don't know.
The implementation was far better in the previous version of OutSystems UI than which is in the recent version. So.
Yeah, that one I agree.
Yes.
Anything more?
Any other questions? Any questions online? If not, I'm going to steal the cable.
We do have a question here. It's Victor was sharing some information.
Thank you.
Some components, yeah. No questions on that.
Stop sharing. Everything okay here? Were there questions?
No, there were more comments and additional information, complementary information to what was happening there in the room. I think no questions from this side.
All right. So then, shall we proceed with Mariana? Are you ready?
Yes.
Very good.
Can I share my screen? I think we have one question about the CSS inline in QA.
Thank you, Mariana. Oh, we do have a question here. Thank you, Mariana. How did I miss all this stuff? I don't saw the comments. Mano, do you want to?
I don't see the question here.
In the Q&A.
Is about the CSS inline is best practice or not?
CSS inline, no.
Yes, no. I can answer that. No, too. It's not a good practice.
No. It's really hard to change it if you have it in line. So please don't do that. Create a CSS selector and use your CSS there.
And then we have another one here. I don't know if you can read.
It's different because, so are the CSS sprite images more efficient or the Aviv images, the Aviv format? So the CSS sprite images, they have everything there. It's just a big image with a bunch of images inside that then you have to select. I would need to compare, but it's really hard to give an answer to this one, to be honest. Aviv images, obviously, they have a better compressing algorithm, and this gives you better performance. But I would need to make tests. It's really hard to give an answer to that one.
Atlas cutting off a web P.
Sorry?
Like have the CSS sprites being cut off a file that's web P or Aviv.
Yeah, that's the thing. The CSS sprite image can be an Aviv file.
Maybe.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah, they can complement each other. Let's say, like use the sprite CSS. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe sometimes if it is icons, then we can also convert it into icon fonts, and we can directly use the fonts. Just like font awesome.
You can, if you have the icons like SVGs, etc. You can use tools to import them like
yeah, there are standard free websites like
iCommon, exactly. The structure remote, and then iCommon you can just import them, and they have several tools.
But then it is only applicable for icons where you need to change the colors. I'm not sure if those sprite images are having
multicolored or something.
Multicolored thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
All right. I suggest we proceed with Mariana, and if there are any questions still, then let's add them after the second presentation. Did you want to share your screen?
Yes.
And thank you so much, Adriano.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
I think you see a black screen. It's correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Let's start. First, thank you, Elena and Mino, for the opportunity to be here to share with you a little about my experience as a front-end in OutSystems. For that, let's start. Making it easier, okay, for a designer and a front-end developer. First of all, our topic is who am I? A little introduction about this team. Don't invent the wheel. Design OutSystems and some extra tips for us. And come on, who I am? My name is Mariana. I work at Entity Data as a team leader, front-end OutSystems. I started in OutSystems maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And my interest has always been in front-end, and here I am. I like to help and inspire other people to follow their inspirations. And I love OutSystems and I love front-end. And because of that, I work with OutSystems and front-end. So a little introduction about that. Designers and front-end need to work together to create a best interface and a user experience for the users. But this is not easy, okay? To be possible, people need to share experience and knowledge and ideas and feedbacks. And this is not happen in every project, just sometimes, and depends the people and the company and the team, wherever, okay? And I don't know why, but some people like to reinvent the wheel. But if the project is using OutSystems UI components in the base layout, then what is the reason not to use the design kit that OutSystems provides? That's right, none. The design kit provides a complete base of the widgets and layouts in Figma, Sketch, and Adobe XD. This speeds up the process of creating the style guide based on the components that the front-ends needs and have available in OutSystems, have all the widgets, all the palettes of colors, the size, fonts, everything is there in design kits. It's important to use the design kit because when adapting the style guide for OutSystems development, it's important to know, for example, the names of the OutSystems use, the base color palette, so that we are not do something that already exists. For example, the name of the colors, the palettes, the extended palettes exist. Why I create another one if I already have one for OutSystems? I don't need to do that, okay? Because of that, use the design kit for OutSystems. Is more easy and more speed up for us in the project, okay? And okay, we create the design, create the style guide, but what the front ends use from the style guide? The style guide is a guide, just for a guide, just for us, it's just a guide, but is the all CSS for a front end. Is the root of the CSS for all the variables and the values. of course, we also implement the screens and that are shown as example in the mockups. We translate all the definitions in the style guide and convert them into a CSS code. And then we use this code on this page, okay? We use the typography, colors, spacing, the mockups, to create the page. All this we use, okay? But we need to the values for the CSS. But in some cases, some strange things happen, and Adriano talked about that too, okay? And what we see is that values are defined in the style guide, and then other values are used in the mockups. Is sometimes stranger values, okay? Please avoid this. Try to use the values that have been defined or multiples of them in the mockups. This makes the implementation easier for us. It is possible to do calculations, of course, to find the values, but this is not the best approach. For example, we can see here a font size. We have a display, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, whatever, and have 2 titles. Okay, one title is 35 and other is 40. And we don't have these values in the display 1, the display heading or heading 2. We don't have these values. We need to do another variable, or we need to change this. But in the first place, this is our style guide, or we need to use these values in some place, okay? So try to use the same values to display 1 and or heading 1 in our titles in the page, okay? Is the best approach for implementation too. Another example here is, this is a mockup, okay, in our project. And I don't know if everyone knows here the master detail, but this is a master details. It's a OutSystems widget. And here we see the spacing values, okay, on top. In this case is spacing values of our project. And we see a mockup, and that looks perfect. We have a logo, we have a title, we have tabs, search, buttons, have a great user experience, a great UI. This is a page, it's okay. Don't have some problems, it's okay. We have a list with a detail, with the option to edit. It's okay. The page looks perfect for me, and I think it's a good page, okay? But it's not perfect, or better, it's not pixel perfect. If we analyze pixel by pixel, there are a little difference here, okay? And okay, how can we fix or solve this, okay? We can ask the designer what size he wants. We can choose a size and use this size. But I don't know if the same size for all the master details or just for this page. And have a standard, don't have a standard. And this is the goal here, okay? How do we solve it, okay? And another example, okay? We have here a form with some fields, and a simple form with fields and a button and a title and logo, OutSystems logo in this case. And it's a simple form, but it's okay. Look great. It's a simple form, but look, it looks okay. But again, if we, let's take a closer look, and this is normally happen when we have several developers each creating a group of pages without someone look for all pages. The forms or pages ends up with different size, spacing, or even buttons or colors or whatever. Something's not great in this page or different pages in this case. But again, the question is, how can we solve this? And this is the questions here, okay? How we can solve this in all the application and have a standard here in all applications. So the answer is with a style guide and a design systems. A style guide is just one part of a design systems. The style guide is just a guide, like I said, to end the. It's a guide to the project or the app, and at the beginning of the design systems. We can say that the style guide is a tip of the iceberg, as in this picture. The design systems need to have a clear documentation and have more complete than the style guide. And now let's talk about the design systems and how it helps us to solve our problems. And I could talk for a long time about the benefits of having a design systems in the project, but I will summarize a little bit. I want believe is most important is design systems help standardize design with standard and expected behaviors. It helps save time and effort when all components are in one place and documented, and can grow by the project, even in complex projects. And okay, we know and understand that are benefits, but okay, how do we start design systems? And I believe there are 3 big steps to starting a design systems, and are identify the components and patterns we have in the style guide or in the project. Create these components that can be used by different applications, and create the clear documentation, so everyone who needs to use the design systems has the information they need. For me, this would be the 3 big steps to starting a design systems. And now we can see here a little example of a component in the design systems. I like to talk about buttons, because always it's always a simple example about one component. Everyone knows a button, and see a button in your day is at least one time. And we can see here a button pattern, and with a label in the first one, with the 2 icons, and then the spacing options, and the expected behavior, default, over, pressed. And this is a little example about the design systems for one component, and how we can see all the options for the button, for example, okay? And this helps the front end to how implement a button or a component in the project, or in all the project, because here we have all the expected behavior and all the situations for this component, okay? But okay, the goal here is how we can solve our problems, and we have 2 problems. So remember our master detail with a pixel difference. Okay, with the design systems, we can solve our master detail problem, because you would create the master detail as a reusable component in the design systems, and in the documentations you have the margins, paddings, desktop view, mobile view if we need it, and have whatever, in other words, all the margins, all the paddings, colors, bold, font size, all these things we can put in the design systems in the documentations. And it will always be the same for all applications that use the same design systems and or style guide in the project, okay? Or in all applications, we need to use the same design systems. And this can solve our problem about the master detail, okay? Because we know this is the size of the padding or margin in the master detail. We don't have the problem about the, oh, here is what size, here is not the same size, here we have a standard, and all the master details is the same. And another example, the form with different size aligns. Design systems can also show how a set of components should behave. Okay, for example, the form with inputs and labels and buttons, or maybe 2 buttons, 2 drop downs, and the space is font size, enfim. Sorry, a little Portuguese, but yes, font size and little space side by side in 2 buttons. Anyway, we need to define that something will always have the same behavior in the design systems. And this is how we can solve the problem with the design systems. Because design systems can define everything in a component or 2 components in between, wherever, okay? And that's how I think we should have a style guide and the design systems in a project, because we can see all the behavior and in a component or 2 or more components between, and we can put together and don't have a difference of standards or designers, not developers, or one developer put one button in one side and other in other side. All developers put the same behavior in the same component. And now some extra tips. There are cases where the designer or front-end works with several technologies, and they are designer or front-end experts, and do not have so much knowledge about the OutSystems platform, but it's a plus to know OutSystems if you are going to work with OutSystems. Maybe page lifecycle, visit the lifestyle guide, learn about the widgets, discover what you can use, the best practice, maybe do some certifications. If you don't know where to start, I left some links in the presentations. I could be a good start. Okay. And another extra tips is learn about the methodology that OutSystems use to create these components. A methodology that can also be used in creating design systems too. And he's made up of this 5 steps: is atoms, molecules, organisms, templates, and pages. Okay, it's atomic design. And the OutSystems use the atomic design for these components, and it's another great way to start learning more about it. And another extra tips, more for front-enders, is follow the best practice. Avoid inline CSS. He used the classes, centralized classes in the team, use CSS variables, comment your code, all the others that you can consult on the OutSystems website. They all have a reason for being best practice. Don't ignore them. And collaboration between the entire teams is essential for the success. Thanks again. If someone have any questions, is the moment.
Thank you. Let me just get to the screen. Helena, you mentioned there were some questions.
There were some questions from earlier. I think it was when Mariana started speaking. But
so we need to pull Adriano up again, or what?
Let's see.
Yes.
Any more questions for Mariana? Please write them in the Q&A. We are learning how to use the Q&A, okay? So bear with us. Keep writing your questions. There was a comment in the chat from Sarah about all the designers. Yeah, OutSystems Share Kit, very useful in Figma or any other design tool. So questions. Let's go back to the questions. Let me start. I guess we can ask the question and either Mariana or Adriano will reply. One question here is for custom tables. Is it okay to use tables using HTML elements, or is it better create tables using divs?
For custom tables, is it okay to use table using HTML elements, or is it better create tables using div?
HTML elements, so that just keep up with the rules of HTML. So there's HTML element specific for tables, and yes, you should use them instead of divs.
Okay, thank you, Adriano. Another question here, and then you tell me if I read it correctly. Are CSS sprite images more efficient or .avif images?
We already answered this before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I think those are the questions in there.
There's a new one. Are the resources on the terminologies OutSystems use? Yes, I presume so. I wonder what specific terminologies you are referring to. But we have a lot of content available in the training portal as well as just on OutSystems UI. If there are any particular things you're looking for, please reach out to us and we can or answer it or reach out to the OutSystems UI team and bring you in contact with them. And I think with that, we're coming close to an end. Let me just check the chat. Everything seems answered. So then I just wanted to have one more second of your attention. And you like that? This was the best part of the presentation so far? Awesome. So we, as I said before, we're trying to set this up for the experience community, including UX, UI, and front end globally. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for the both speakers. Thank you for the attendees in person as well as online. And we have a call for speakers in case you want to. I don't see anyone. I see one person taking their phone out. I won't pressure you. And feedback. We really want to learn if this is useful, yes or no. Give feedback on user groups specifically for experience. Give feedback on the hybrid format with our perfect usage of the tool that we never worked with before because Bevy is apparently great. Give feedback on the host. He's also very important, I heard. And Eric also wants additional feedback. So thank you so much for the ones here. Please feel free to hang around, ask questions, socialize. There will be something to drink and eat, which I didn't hear yet. So I guess I should fill a bit longer. For the ones online, also give feedback. I'll leave this slide on so you can give feedback at your own time and pace. And for that, thank you so much. I will mute here so you don't go deaf once the party starts. And I'll leave it on for a while. Thanks, everyone.
Manu, we just see an infinite.
I know, but I need to mute it on this screen.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.